Good afternoon, everyone. This is Week in Review number 15. Like last weekend, I have Joshua interviewing me and looking forward to another chat with Joshua. So over to you, Josh.
Hey Tim, nice to talk to you again and interview again. So it'll be pretty similar questions to last week, as I'm sure you've had another busy week. So the first one to start off with is, how is your Impressive Mark business going? Are you keeping on track as you were last week?
Well, define keeping on track. Yeah, look, it's been actually a good week in terms of my ability to work, which has been good. I've been pushing myself hard to get the hours up, and but unfortunately, it's a bit of what happened last week that I started working on the security aspect for ImpressiveMark.com, and I thought on Monday, in fact, I sent you a message to say that the day went really well and that I thought that I had basically cracked the nut of security, and I knew there was one issue for me to look at. And so I sat down on Tuesday to look at it, and it wasn't until the end of Thursday and end of yesterday that I finally solved that one problem. There was one little setting that was wrong, but it took me a long time to find it because the documentation is very wanting on the issue that I was trying to solve. But in the end, I got there. So I solved that, and then today I've been working on finalising the end of the security aspect, being able to sign in with your Google account, and I got that done. When I was chatting with you online around 2 o'clock this afternoon, I said, there's something that I want to get done before I go and have a nap. And I was hoping to put the code online to show you that the sign-in's working. Unfortunately, like all things when you want to do a demo, Azure wasn't playing nice. Azure is a Microsoft cloud services, and it wasn't working the way that it should have been. So I was hoping to show off something here during this video, but that's unfortunately not going to happen.
That's all right.
Yeah. Stop sending me messages while we're talking.
Okay. Now moving on to the next question, keeping in line with website building, how is Joshua M Sport going? Any big steps or big changes from last week?
No, Joshua M Sport is 100% relying on ImpressiveMark.com up and running. So as soon as that's on board, then I'll be able to focus the attention specifically to JoshuaMSport.com. But yeah, that will be actually, well, certainly initially will be quick and easy. Yeah, so just sort of going over it a bit more again. I got the sign-in working, so I'll check that with you probably on Monday, although you said you might not be available on Monday. Then after that, I need to write the code for the blog posting, which effectively I've got from another system. So I think I hope that will plug in easily, and I hope that at the end of Tuesday, you'll be able to start adding blog posts to your website.
I'm sure that the computer and blog gods are just there, and they're going to make the best happen.
It hasn't felt that way for the past fortnight, so I hope you're right.
Now, keeping on the work front side of things, I think this was a few weeks back, a contract in the US. How's everything going with that?
Basically, it sucks. So they were supposed to have a meeting on Tuesday at their time, so Wednesday morning, I imagine our time, and it got postponed again. It was originally supposed to be at the start of May, and they postponed it to, they said, the following month. One would assume that that meant the start of June, but no, it turned out to be towards the end of June. And then they postponed it at the last minute again. So I was hoping to hear from my contact today. She said she would, but she hasn't. So while I have mentally for a while said that contract's not coming through, it's still floating there, and that's a bit of an annoyance. Well, it's more than a bit of annoyance. I would like to know more clearly where I'm at. So next week, I'm really going to put it on the line with her to say, you've just got to decide whether this is going ahead or it's not. And yeah, so I hope it does. I really, really do hope it does. There's a lot of stuff in the project that would be really interesting to work on, but this has been dragging on for months and months now, and so yeah, it's time to move on officially, or not, or to start the project. So hopefully that turns out for the best, but we'll see.
Well, hopefully you can just completely understand what you're doing and just do those tasks instead of it being, you know, iffy, will this happen? It'd be good for you to get some clarity and just understand really what your projects are.
Exactly right, yeah.
And now moving on to sport, which is my kind of thing. How are you going in your croquet at the moment?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Wednesday, I had the best game that I've had since Easter.
26 TP?
Sorry?
26 TP?
26 TP to 0. Yeah. And it was really sweet on a number of levels. One was at Easter, I played Alan Honey, very good mate of mine, and I beat him 2-1. It was a best of 3, and I beat him in the last 2 games with triple peels. But within about 4 or 5 shots of that match starting, I realised that my mallet was breaking. I could still play with it, but it was a bit loose, and no way to tighten it up or anything. So I had to wait a few weeks, but I got a new mallet. This
Fletcher
time I
Bros
got
mallet?
a Fletcher Bros mallet it was. It's made by Robert and Malcolm Fletcher, good mates of mine. And anyway, it's a really good mallet. It took me a little while to get used to it because the grip's different. I much prefer it, but it still took a week or 2 of solid practice for that to come in. And the other thing different about it is the end faces. The mallet's basically the same design as the one that I had before, but the end faces on this are brass, whereas the other mallet that had brass ends but had a black composite, sort of plasticky, not plastic, but yeah, it was a softer. So that's made the shots different, and so that's taken some getting used to. But I was playing well, but wasn't finishing a triple off, and that really was mainly my brain going to sleep because of the stroke brain, as I like to call it. But on Wednesday, Alan turned up, and I hadn't seen Alan for ages. I had seen him after Easter, but only once possibly. And by luck of the draw, I got pulled against him to play him. And I said, "Oh, good, Al. You might this might be the spark that I need to do a triple, because I used to triple against Alan a lot, And sure enough, it was the spark that I needed, and I played a really nice. The first half hour of the game, both of us were terrible and couldn't run the first two. But then, I ran the first 9 hoops and set a good lead. Alan hit the lift, but couldn't get going, and I hit a nice 14-yard roquet and did the triple to win the game. So that was very, very, very satisfying.
And speaking of your Fletcher Mallet Bros, have you played a game with the world #1 Robert Fletcher recently?
No. No, the last time I saw Robert was about October last year at the Eights, but we were in different divisions. I had my stroke in 2012, and I've played at the doubles. At a national level, I've only played 1 8s, which Robert wasn't in my division. I've played 2 8s, and Robert wasn't in either division, and I've played 1 doubles event. And geez, at the moment I'm drawing a blank as to who I played with. Oh, I played with Stephen Pearce, and we did really well. But I'm not sure whether Robert was in my block or not. So I haven't played Robert since at least 2012, if not before.
Well, it might be time for a rematch.
I'd love to, but he's in country Victoria and I'm in Canberra, so it comes down to whether we turn up at the same tournament or not. And given my limited playing capacity at the moment, it doesn't happen.
And do you reckon there'd be any chance next time we meet up, hopefully play croquet, for Robert Fletcher possibly to stop by and me beat him in a game?
No. You beat him in a game? No. Would I beat him in a game? Yeah, maybe. But unless you're some talented croquet god that nobody knows about yet, you're not going to beat him until you take up the sport seriously, which I'd love to see you do. So we'll have to get together and see whether you like playing it or not. And as you know, your Sutherland courts are just around the corner, practically. So we'll see what we can line up.
And the final question of this week in review is, how have you held up generally this week? Has it been a good week for you, a bad week, or just another so-so?
No, it's been a good week this week. It's been really good, actually. As I said earlier, I've pushed myself harder. I noticed while looking at the screen during this recording that my eyes got some nice black rings under them, as I always have done when I get tired. But I've been very happy with the way that I've gone this week. I'm still a long way away from a regular person in terms of the number of hours worked, but overall, I've it's been a better week this week, so I've been very pleased with that, and actually quite proud of myself for pushing myself through.
You did well, Uncle Tim.
Thank you, Joshua.
So, do you have anything else to say about your week that the viewers might like to hear?
I've got 2 things. One was I got a very nice surprise on Wednesday. I have a website, croquetscores.com. I'm sure I've spoken about it before on these videos. And it's got a donation button. And I received a nice donation from Western Australia Croquet Association. So thank you to them, should someone be watching.
Is this
From
croquetschools.com?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was nice. Yeah, I get some really nice donations, particularly from Australian states and from the ACA themselves. But I don't know when they're going to come, and so when they do come, it's a lovely surprise, as happened with Croquet Tasmania the month before. They had sent me a nice donation as well. So so that was good. And the other thing that I believe I haven't spoken about on any of the weekend reviews yet is approximately 2 weeks ago, we've now done 3 of them. I signed up to a service called Mastermind Jam. I believe their website's mastermindjam.com. And what their service does is put 4 similar people together, and we get together once a week via Google Hangouts. They're not publicly available, but we get together, and we're 4 entrepreneurs with different businesses. They're all got IT aspects to them. One of the guys certainly knows his IT, but 3 of us are heavily into developing IT, and he's less so, but he works with IT. It's more a case of he works with websites as opposed to developing websites. And I'm not going to cough or yawn. Thank you for the distraction, Joshua. So anyway, we get together once a week, as I was saying, Thursday morning my time for an hour, and talk about our businesses, what our challenges have been, and what our successes. And we're only 3 weeks in, but yeah, I'm finding it very interesting, and it's actually quite motivating to be able to speak to 3 similar, like-minded people, and we set each other goals for the week and compare notes. So it's been great.
And I believe you actually have mentioned that in one week in review before. You briefly mentioned it, but it's good to hear more about it. Another venture in your entrepreneur career.
Yeah.
And
yeah. No, it's been great.
And do you believe that the progress you've made so far, from when you first started making these videos to Week in Review 15, do you think you've achieved where you hoped to be?
No, but my expectations are always bigger than they should be. So so I like to put it another way of, am I happy with the progress that I've made? And the answer is yes to that. You know, given my work restrictions, yeah, I'm happy with the progress that I have made, and really, and the one thing, the big difference between now and 15, well, it's more than 15 weeks because I missed a few weeks out, but the difference between Week in Review number 1 and 15 is that I now have a definite project that I'm working on, the impressivemark.com, and
Joshua M Sport, don't forget that.
And joshuamsport.com, yes, but that's not going to earn me any money specifically, whereas impressivemark.com is.
It'll earn you a lot of credit.
That's right. And yeah, so it's great that I've decided on that, and and I'm not going to listen to Reese's request. Yeah, so I'm happy with how it's progressing so far, and I'm also, I thought when you started to ask this question that you're going to ask how I felt that my performance on these weekend reviews is going.
That as well.
Am I presenting? Yeah, am I presenting better, etc.? And I believe the answer to that is yes. Hopefully, my viewers will let me know one way or the other. Although
and
I've only
do you know exactly who your viewers are?
You, Reese, Mum, Dad, Claire Wilson in Adelaide. She was chuffed that her name was mentioned in last week's video, so hello again, Claire. Derek, my past client, has watched some of them.
Robert Fletcher, by chance?
Not to my knowledge.
Oh, it's not good enough from Robert.
No, it's not good enough. But anyway, it's frankly, I don't care. Yeah, if no one watches it, that's okay. The two reasons why I started doing this was to improve my communication skills, which they're getting back to a level that I used to be at. And second of all, it was a way for me to stop and see within myself as to how I'm progressing throughout time. So, yeah, I'm achieving those goals. Except for one period where I missed a week, and as I do tend to do after missing a week, after missing a week, I said, oh yeah, I'll catch that up. And then I ended up missing about 4 weeks in a row before I got back to it. Besides that little step, I think I've put out the video every week. So I'm pleased that I've been able to.
And you have someone interviewing you as well.
I now have someone interviewing me. That's exactly right. And that's been fun as well. So, yeah, and now you've started your week in review. We had your first one before this review.
I'm not sure if that will be regular, but I'll do a few here and there. I'll mainly be working on writing articles and tweeting, I think will be my main thing, but a few YouTube videos here and there can't hurt.
That's exactly right. Even if you just do it once a week to say, I got this blog post out today, just to keep the presence up. So if you don't have any more questions, Joshua, we'll wrap it up for the week.
I think that sounds good. Thanks for having me again. I always enjoy interviewing you.
Thank you for having me. It certainly makes it more interesting for me, and I hope for the viewers, having been able to talk to someone rather than me just straight out talking to the camera. And hello to Joshua, sent me a pile of messages trying to distract me while we were talking, and so I'll try and rattle them all off. Well, I think there was hello to Mum and hello to Dad and hello to Reese. And am I missing anyone, Joshua?
No, not exactly, but there was something that Pa asked you to do.
Pa asked me to mention his Twitter handle of @PBM2151.
And Reese also mentioned a request.
That's what Reese asked for, I believe.
Certainly was. I will just take that little video and I will show him straight away. I'm sure he'll be very pleased.
Okie doke, good.
Okay.
All right, guys. I'll see you next week.
Okay, bye everyone.